Welcome back to Beyond the Release Outdoors. Caleb Smith here. Today I'm going to be going over my bow setup. Um, I'm probably just going to go through it piece by piece, the bow and then the accessories that are on it, and give you a little bit of reason why I have the bow that I've got, why I chose it, and um, a little bit about it. You guys have probably seen reviews on this. This is the Hoyt Alpha, the Alpha X33. So it's not the most recent model. It's last year's model. I bought this one right before the Alpha AX2 came out. So I was a little bit behind the curve on that, but I've been really, really happy with it. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about it today. Like I said, you guys have probably already seen some reviews. If you're in the market for bows, you've probably already seen some reviews for this bow. It's from 2024. So I'm not going to do something super in depth, but just kind of give you a rundown of my setup and why I chose it. So um, I've had in the last 3 years, I've had a Elite Omnia and Matthews Lift 33, and then this Hoyt Alpha X 33. I've been pretty happy with all of them. I've been super happy with that Elite Omnia, and this has probably been my favorite one so far. The Matthews was great too. Um, Honestly, guys, I don't know that you can go wrong with any of the flagship bow manufacturers. Yeah, there's going to be different things you're going to, depending on what you're looking for, you're going to find something you like better in certain brands than you like in others. One of the big things that I am a huge fan of with Hoyt is the durability. Hoyt is unmatched for durability. These bows, I'm sure some of you guys have probably seen some of the dry fire testing that they do. Their risers have to withstand 1,500 dry fires. The limbs have to withstand 1,000. I don't remember exactly what the cams withstand, but it's somewhere in the hundreds. That's insane. Like, I mean, that's unmatched. There's no other boat company doing stuff like that. And I don't really know how they're so far beyond everybody else in the industry as far as durability goes, but that's crazy. If you can watch, I think it was Podium Archer, or whatever his channel is called, has done some dry fire testing on all the major flagship bow companies this year. And maybe still working on some others too, but there's not anything that's come close to Hoyt yet, and it's pretty amazing the amount of durability that they've been able to put into these bows, and I've been really happy with it. That is a big thing for me. So there's, other people may be looking more for other uh, benefits of a bow, whether it might be speed or draw cycle or vibration or whatever. But guys, I'm telling you, this bow this Alpha X33, it's got it all. So I've been super happy with it. Like I said, the first really actual flagship bow that I ever got was my Elite Omnia. Um, I've been bow hunting for a long time now, but I've always just kind of used just intermediate level, I guess you would call it, type of stuff. Whatever the best thing they had at Bass Pro at the time, that's what I would get. And it worked for a long time. I was fine with it, but then eventually I got to where I guess I was more into just the hunting and um, just the deer hunting part of it more than the archery part of it. I wasn't really an archery nut at that time. I did it because it was the archery season is longer than gun season, so I really liked archery. But when I got my very first uh, really nice flagship bow, I really fell in love with it, guys, and I really started to get really nerdy about it and really digging into building arrows and getting these things performing at peak efficiency, and that's what I really like to do now. So as far as this bow goes, like I said, the durability is unmatched. The draw cycle I've been really, really happy with. I don't really, I feel like it's a better draw cycle than my lift was. It's probably just about equal to my Omnia. Um, I've been really happy with both of those bows. I still have the Omnia. I'm possibly going to maybe put a kind of heavy arrow sight tape on that one and make it for, probably use it exclusively for hog hunting or something like that, and then use this one for deer and turkeys or whatever else it might be. But we'll see where that goes. Speed is really good. Speed has been good. Here in a minute, once I give you kind of a rundown of all the stuff I've got, I'm going to shoot a few through the chronograph. You guys can see the kind of speeds I'm getting on it. It's a really good bow as far as speed. It's not going to be, probably not the fastest. It's right up there though. I mean, there's going to be a couple that are faster than this one, I'm sure, but this one's right up there with them. I think I tested it with my, so that my Elite Omnia was kind of a speed bow. I think the IBO on that was like 347 feet per second, which is really quick. Um, and right now I've got the smooth mods on that. It comes with performance mods, and I bought smooth mods, which drop the speed down a little bit, makes the draw cycle a little more comfortable. I think with the smooth mods on that bow, I was shooting about the same, or maybe a little bit less than I am with this bow. So pretty comparable to anything else at the time. The this bow is super dead in the hand. The only bow that I've shot, and I've shot a bunch of them. I've bought a new bow every year for the last 3 years, and shot all different brands. The only bow that really has been deader in a hand than this bow is probably my Elite Omnia, um, and not by much. It's super super close. I will say that this bow is more stable than that bow though. This bow, kind of what I've said in the past, is this bow almost has the stability of that Lift 33 I had, with the smoothness and the quietness and the lack of vibration that the Omnia had, which is really good. I mean, that makes it really an all-around awesome bow. Um, and I liked that lift a lot too. So, and it was super stable, a very stable bow. I didn't like how much it vibrated. I hear a lot of reviews of people talking about how dead in hand it is and how quiet it is, and I personally didn't have that experience with it. Um, I don't know whether it was the one I had or what, but this one seems to vibrate less. I just feel it less. I mean, it's super smooth. Also, the draw cycle is super smooth. Um, really firm back wall on it. All the things I'm looking for in a bow, this one's got it. So anyway, let's move on to the stuff I've got on it. First, we're going to go over the sight. So when I got this bow, I switched to this UV slider. There are 3 movable pins, and then the 4th pin down on the bottom that's stationary, I guess you'd say. Which I prefer. I don't really use that 4th pin. Maybe I will. I don't know, for hunting purposes, but um, for 3D or indoor archery or anything like that, I really wouldn't care to have more than a single pin. But this is kind of my do everything bow, and for hunting, I like to have at least a 3-pin. Preferably, I don't really need more than a 3-pin. That way, I can have 3 pins set at 20, 30, and 40, and then I can move it if I need to, if it's anything beyond that, which I really like to do. I really like to have that option, instead of having just a single pin where I have to move it every single shot, or just a 3 or 5 pin that's not a slider, and you're stuck with the pin positions you've got and have to pin gap everything. Either way, I think this is kind of to me, if you're not using some kind of a slider sight, this day and age, you're probably a little bit behind the curve. Which I'm not saying, if you don't have the money to buy one, obviously not everybody's going to need to buy one. You can make do with what you got, with what you can afford. I'm not trying to convince people to spend money they don't have. But anyway, I've really been happy with the site. The main thing, there are other sites that I do like the site picture on a little bit better. The black gold sites I really like a lot because the pins are just so fine and so tiny, and um, the site picture is really good on them. These ones are a little bit bigger. I think they're 0.015, and they are uh, pretty slim. But I mean, for the majority of what I'm doing, I've been happy with it. One thing I do really like is the sight light on this site. It's it runs on it's like a watch battery, I guess is probably what it is. And the cool thing about it is every bow sight that I've had that I put a sight light on, they die, and like I use them one time and they're dead. And then you got to buy all these little batteries to put in them. Well, this thing is great because I don't know if those other ones, if they turn on in my case or what, but I've had multiple different kinds and they all do the same thing. But this one turns off after a couple of minutes or so. You turn it on, turns off after a couple of minutes, and keeps you from running down your battery. And it's also got these two buttons here so that you can adjust the brightness. If it's too bright, you can turn it down a little bit, which is really nice. I like that about it. The movement of this site is super smooth. You guys have probably seen some of the other reviews on these, but very, very smooth. I also really like the fact that I can run multiple sight tapes on this. I've got two on there right now. This side I've got set up for my hunting arrows that are about 400 and somewhere between 470 and 480 grains. And this one is set up for my tack arrows that I've built, which are about 386 grains. And so I like the fact that you can run two different sight tapes on there instead of having to re-sight in for every different arrow weight that you might want to shoot. And they're also, the sticker goes on a little metal plate that you can take on and off of there. So even if you wanted more arrow weights on there, it would be very easy to have that sight tape already ready to go on another metal plate. All you have to do is swap out the plate. So that's really nice about this sight too. Let's see, the rest, I've got a Hamskea Epsilon arrow rest. I've had three of these, I guess. I've had one on my Omnia, one on my lift, and one on this bow, obviously. That's how happy I've been with this rest. I switched, when I got that Omnia, I switched to a limb-driven rest because mainly, well, at first it was kind of because of how the durability of this rest. There's hardly any plastic on it. It just seems really super bulletproof, and then as I got to learning a little bit more about it, you hardly have to do any kind of tuning or anything with a limb-driven rest because it's not tied to the string, so it's not tied to something that's stretching or changing over time. This is tied to your limb. It's going to go to the same place every single time. You're also the little cradle, or I can't remember what it's called, the launcher arm, I think is what it's called, that holds your arrow, has contact with the arrow for a longer amount of time with a limb driven than it does with any of the drop away rests. So basically, it's going to drop away. It holds onto that arrow and drops away right before that arrow comes off the string, whereas some of the other ones don't hold on to it quite as long, so you might not get quite the accuracy. I doubt that you'd really notice that big of a difference with it, but it is something, I guess, to talk about. I have two AAE Mountain Series 8-inch stabilizers on this bow. So you can see, so this would be the normal spot you'd run that most people would run a stabilizer. These Hoyt bows come with this little stubby stabilizer right here from the factory. I took that off there just to save a little bit of weight, and I don't really need it. And ran the ran a, my regular stabilizer down here instead. Um, from what I understand, it's supposed to be better to run it lower on the bow anyway. So that's what I'm trying at the time, and things may change. I may decide to do something different later on. But basically, the two 8-inch, you can see how much that sticks out farther than where the normal stabilizer would go. So me having two 8-inch stabilizers on there makes it more like I've got a 12-inch here and an 8-inch on the back, because it sticks out probably about 4 inches more than it normally would. And I've also got these the Hoyt, I think they're called Go Sticks. These are really cool. There's Everybody's kind of coming out with these now. There's a couple of bow manufacturers that haven't come out with one yet, but they need to hurry up and do it, because everybody's doing it now, and it's awesome to have something like this. So this thing, you can run in 4 different positions. You can run them straight back, just like that. You can run them straight forward where they're in line with your stabilizer, like that. You could run them in this kind of semi-back position, where it would be using your stabilizer as the third part of that. Or you can use it like I primarily use it, which is with the cam sitting on the ground like that. And the nice thing about these bows is it's okay to do that, because it's got this little knob right here. It's got a little rubber bumper around it. So you can set it on gravel or dirt or whatever, and it's not going to tear up your cam. It's not going to scratch it. It's not going to get dirt in your strings and stuff like that. So you can kind of do that with these bows, which is really nice. The only other thing on this bow that I don't have on it right now, actually, let me just grab it real quick. Sorry about that, guys. The only other thing that I normally have on this bow during hunting season that I don't have on it right now, just to save some weight and get it out of the way for this time of year when I don't really need it, is the quiver. I chose to go with a 2-piece quiver, and the reason for that is that when you get that 1-piece quiver, and they're great too. I mean, if that's what you want, if you like to have something that you can take on and off quickly, then that 1-piece is probably a good deal for you, because it's got like a quick release thing, and you can take it on and off your bow really easy. I chose the 2-piece because it's going to mount 2 different spots to your bow. I think it goes right here and right down here somewhere. I can't remember. Anyway, 2 different places, and instead of having that just one little spot where normally it would mount just right in the middle somewhere, and that whole thing kind of flexes. Well, if you have that 2-piece, it's mounted at 2 different spots, and there's no flex. It's mounted solid 2 different places, and it's great if you don't plan on taking it off during hunting season. I'm not taking it off during hunting season. If I'm going to run a quiver on my bow, I'm going to keep it on there at all times. And I do a lot of kind of hiking around and spot and stock kind of hunting, and so I prefer to have that quiver on there all the time. I need extra arrows just in case. You never know what's going to happen. I use different kind of broadheads too. I might want to grab an arrow with a different broadhead on it or whatever. And so that's why I chose a 2-piece. But anyway, that's basically it for the rundown of my bow. Been super happy with this bow. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to move this chronograph over here, and I'm going to take a few shots through the chronograph and show you guys the speeds I'm getting with it. I've got 4 different arrow weights. I've got a 386, a 454, a 495, and a 538. So I'm going to test speeds with all 4 of those, and we'll see what we get and go from there. Stay tuned. All right, guys, I've got the chronograph set up, and I'm going to shoot a few arrows through this and just give you an idea what kind of speeds I'm getting. This first one's going to be a 386 grain arrow. This is the ones that I'm using for Total Archery Challenge coming up here pretty soon. So here goes this one. Okay, I got 311 feet per second on that one. That's really quick. Next one is going to be, this is actually the arrow that I hunted with this past season. These are the arrows that I hunted with this past season, and the only difference is I put a 100 grain field point on here instead of 125, which is what I normally hunt with. So normally I'm at like 470 something to 480 grains. This one is coming out to 454 right now with 100 grains on there. So here goes that one. 285 there. Okay. Next one is 495 grains, which is getting pretty heavy for a hunting setup or for a whitetail setup. A lot of guys are using, I know, a lot heavier than that. To me, that's pretty heavy. I went down the heavy arrow rabbit hole for a while, but anyway, here goes 495. No, did something wrong there. I definitely know it wasn't 110. So let's try that one again. I'll go ahead and get these other two out of the way while we're here. All right, so let's redo that one because my chronograph must have glitched out or something. Yeah, definitely know that's not right. Let's try it again. That's not accurate. Okay. All right, let's maybe try this one more time. Hopefully it'll read accurate this time. 275. There we go. That's more like it. And that was for the 454 or 495 grain arrow. I'm sorry. And last, I've got this one that's 538 grains. That is a heavy arrow. I did not use these for very long. 268 for the 538 grain arrow. So guys, this bow is shooting pretty quick. I'll get back over here. All right, so you guys got to see some of the speeds this bow's putting out. Hold on a second. All right, so you got to see some of the speed this bow's producing with different arrow weights, which I'd say that's pretty quick. I mean, also I forgot to tell you, this is at 29-inch draw, and I used my draw scale, and it was about 72 pounds is what I'm drawing right now. These are 60 to 70 pound limbs. I've got them cranked all the way down. They're coming out to about 72 pounds. So that's 72 pounds, a little over 72 pounds, 29-inch draw, and it's getting those speeds. I mean, I'd say that's pretty good compared to the stuff that I've seen. Most of the stuff that I've seen that's actually pretty close to the IBO speeds posted for bows is with a 350 grain arrow at like 30-inch draw. So I'd say that 311 feet per second is pretty good with that 386 grain arrow. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in today. Me and James are going to be going to Total Archery Challenge in Oklahoma here in just a few days. And unfortunately, Denny and Braden aren't going to make it. They said they were afraid they were going to get beat or something like that. So they decided they were going to stay home. But whatever, you know, if that's the way they want to be, then that's fine. But no, I'm just kidding. But those guys weren't able to make it. So we are, me and James are going to be going down there. We're going to have some good content coming out, hopefully. Have some really cool shots that we can video and add them to our channel. So you guys stay tuned. more to come. We're going to continue to try to build this thing and get better and better. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. So we really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by.